Now, Dr. Anand Ramanan, President of Sri Ramanasramam, is going to talk now. Please go ahead, Anand. Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Dear brothers and sisters in Sri Bhagavan, a very good morning to all our friends in the continent of Asia, and a very good evening to all our fellow satsangis elsewhere. What a wonderful function we are having so far. My humble thanks to all the participants, especially the children who have taken so much time out of their lives to present such a tribute to the living presence of the Master, Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. Special thanks as always to Arunachala Ashrama for conducting this on a global scale, especially to dear friend Mohan Ramasamy, its president, for his untiring work. Friends, the 72nd Aradhana functions was held in the ashram on 28th April with great fervor. Early morning, there was Mangala Nadaswara music, followed by Mahanyasa Rudra Japam. And then there was Parayana at the Sri Bhagavan's shrines. Then there were the anointing ceremonies afterwards. A very special alankara of the Ramaneshwara Lingam in the Samadhi was performed with multicolored flowers. Finally, the Paradhana was held after we were treated to very good singing by the talented devotee friends. There were cultural activities which included a Bharatnatyam dance the 2 nights before, and there was a special performance by Ambika Kameshwar on the night of the function. The event, as you know, was telecast on the YouTube and was witnessed by over 10,000 people, and which was twice the number of people who were present here live. Friends, though Aradhana is meant to be a day when Bhagavan shed his mortal coil, Bhagavan never associated himself with the body after his first death experience at the age of 16. While recalling his death experience, as recorded in the letters from Sri Ramanasramam, Bhagavan says, I quote, "In the vision of death, though all the senses were benumbed, the aham spurana, the self-awareness, was clearly evident. And so I realized it was the awareness that we call I and not the body. The self-awareness never decays. It is unrelated to anything. It is self-luminous. Even if this body is burnt, it will not be affected in any way. Hence, I realized on that very day so clearly that it was the I." In letters from Sri Ramanasramam, the authoress Suri Nagama continues, and I quote, "Never decays. It is unreal. People like us are afraid of death. Why? Because the belief that we are the body is not gone yet. To those who know the real truth about the self, the body itself is a burden. So long as the two are together, some effort is inevitable for eating and sleeping. Even that is a disturbance to the bliss enjoyed by jnanis. Just as the clothes we appear to be a burden in midsummer, especially in Tiruvannamalai. Under such circumstances, any efforts at serving such people will perhaps be like asking them to put on a three-piece suit in Tiruvannamalai when they are anxious to remove even the existing clothing on account of the distress caused by the continuous perspiration. End of quote. Thus, from the point of view of an ordinary person, or we can label them as Ajnani, the view that I am the body is real, and the fact that I am actually the immortal self is just an illusion. From the viewpoint of the Jnani, having a nature that is absolutely perfect, that is the actual truth. While the thoughts that I'm just the body or the mind is actually an illusion. If we start from the relative truth level, we engage in practices such as chanting, going on pilgrimages, meditation, etc., so that we get closer and recognize the self directly. However, the primary requisite is a true guru, a Sadguru. Adi Shankara, whose Jayanti we celebrated recently, says in Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Samvargaha that one may have several teachers on the spiritual path. All of them are to be considered with respect, but the true guru is the one who opens one's eyes to jnana. He should be able to arouse in you the feelings of confidence and devotion so that you can willingly go down before him and in a childlike fashion receive his teaching with reverence, with 100% reverence and acceptance. You must be able to say with conviction, he is the guru for me, the one I've been searching for all my life. And yet, it is also true that the moment you spontaneously cry out, oh, help me, I need help, you open yourself to such a guru who's right for you. Bhagavan was such a guru to many and continues to be in ever-increasing numbers, even in the absence of his physical body. Friends, Bhagavan held the I'm not the body idea, teaching ideal, even for animals. I like to illustrate a story which happened in 1908. And this is a quote, it's called The Death of a Monkey. In 1908, Sri Bhagavan was staying in Pachayamman temple. There were many tamarind trees in the surrounding area. The municipality gave the right to collect the tamarind to the highest bidder. And during the period of Bhagavan's residence, the rights belonged to a local Muslim. In order to protect his interests, this gentleman had to guard the trees from the monkeys, and he used to drive them away by firing stones at them, taking care not to hurt them using a sling. Unfortunately, one such stone hit a monkey on its head and it died on the spot. The rest of the monkey gathered up the dead body and screeching with both anger and sorrow, they took the body to Sri Bhagavan. Their screeches grew louder in Sri Bhagavan's presence and their sorrow caused tears to trickle down Sri Bhagavan's face. Bhagavan's presence finally calmed the monkeys down, and when they were quiet, he turned to them and gave a gentle upadesa, quote, "For everyone that is born, death is inevitable. He at whose hands this monkey died will certainly meet death one day. So there is no need to grieve." End of quote. The monkeys seemed pacified by these words, and they went away carrying the corpse with them. Now, 2 or 3 days later, the contractor became seriously ill. And since he had heard what Sri Bhagavan said to the monkeys, he interpreted the words to mean that Bhagavan had put a curse on it. He told his family about the incident, and since he was unable to travel himself, they went up to the temple to beg Bhagavan's forgiveness and to remove the curse cast on him, the imaginary curse. One of them said, "It is certain that your curse has hit him, so we beg you to be gracious enough to save him from death. Please give him some vibhuti, sacred ash, so that we can apply it on his head and then he'll certainly recover. Sri Bhagavan smiled at them and said, quote, "You're all mistaken. I never curse or bless anyone. I sent away the monkeys that came here by telling them the simple truth that death inevitably occurs to all those who are born. Moreover, I never give vibhuti to anyone. Please go home and nurse the patient whom you are all left all alone now." The family, however, were not convinced and they refused to move unless Bhagavan gave them some vibhuti. Finally, Bhagavan took some ashes from a nearby fire and presented them to the family. The family was overjoyed. They rushed home to apply the ash to the ailing relative. Needless to say, the ailing contractor was back on his feet within a few days. Bhagavan says, again I quote, "If a man considers that he is born, he cannot avoid the fear of death. Let him find out if he has been born or if the self has any birth. He will discover that the self always exists, that the body that is born resolves itself into thought, and the emergence of that thought is the root of all mischief. Find from where thoughts emerge, then you'll be able to abide in the ever-present innermost self and be free from the idea of birth or, importantly, the fear of death." Friends, everything with an origin has an extinction. Every thought, feeling, sensation, memory arises and inevitably passes away. If we recognize them as mere reflections on the infinite-like mind, they leave no trace behind. The problem is our identification with such phenomena. And that is what sinks us into the ever-deepening minefield of samsara. The self can be reached only by dying. Friends, this dying is not the destruction of the body. True death is the extinction of the ideas, I and mind, the I am the body idea. I will illustrate a few incidents from Sri Bhagavan again. Mr. S. Iyer was an old devotee and a teacher in a local school. Once forced by circumstances to get employment outside Tirunelveli, he became very dejected at the prospect of physically parting with Sri Bhagavan, whom he used to visit daily. He informed Bhagavan of his sad affect and his agitation. The master, seeing his woebegone look, turned to the devotees and laughingly said, quote, "Look at this Swami. He claims to be my disciple of 30 years standing. Now he feels desolate for he's going to a place where Bhagavan is not." End of quote. This had an electrifying effect on his mood, and needless to say, Mr. Iyer was able to relocate to a new location where Bhagavan is always present. Next, news of someone's death was reported to Sri Bhagavan. He said, "Good." Then he continued, "The dead are indeed happy. They have got rid of the troublesome overgrowth of the body. The dead man do not grieve. The survivors grieve for the man who is dead. Do men fear sleep? On the contrary, sleep is quoted and the man says that he slept happily. One prepares for sound sleep. If the man died while yet alive, he need not grieve over others' death. One's existence is evident with or without one's body, as in wakefulness dream, and sleep. Then, why should one desire continuance of these shackles, that is the body? Let the man find out his undying self, undie, and be immortal and be happy. End of quote. Friends, though Bhagavan demonstrated that he was different from his body by his utter disregard and supreme indifference to the same, his devotees often identified Sri Bhagavan with his physical frame. Sri Bhagavan always discouraged the devotion to his body. Bhagavan explained on many occasions that sincere inquiry about the I leads one away from the body, consciousness, and towards the Atman, which is the source of everything. His indifference to the most painful form of cancer, sarcoma, the bone cancer, on his arm was the ultimate lesson to his devotees that he was not limited to the physical body. For several months, in spite of the tremendous pain, he was always cheerful and continued his daily activities as per schedule. When devotees questioned how he could ignore the tremendous pain, he brought their attention to a sloka in Yoga Vashishta. Quote, when a person realizes that he's not the body, he will not be conscious of the pain, even though his body is cut to pieces. He is ever happy and sweet as a sugar candy, which does not lose its sweetness, even though it is cut into bits or powdered, etc. Quote. Moving to the present, the 2022, it amazes me to see the sincere devotees who inspire us every day in the ashram. The devotees visiting the ashram have never seen Bhagavan physically. They have never heard his voice or listened to his Upadesa in person. But one finds them in deep meditation in the old hall, and when it is full, in the Samadhi hall, even in the gardens in the ashram. They are oblivious to the surroundings. Often one sees them shedding tears of joy, and they seem to go around the shrine in constant ecstasy. What gives such exhilarating spiritual experiences to this ever-growing new visitors of Bhagavan, even in his physical absence? As Bhagavan always said, is this body Bhagavan? When somebody expressed sadness at having to go back home from the ashram, Bhagavan said, quote, what am I to do? You say this body is Bhagavan. I say that it is not. Now, if you insist, what am I to do? End of quote. To others, he would say, look, he says he's going to a place where I am not. Friends, the new devotees of Bhagavan, as are the older devotees like all of us, are proof of his living legacy. One, it is Bhagavan's wonderful Shakti that continues to draw people and keeps many of the sincere devotees at the foothills of the holy hill around the ashram forever. In fact, Sri Bhagavan's power and influence has only continued to grow stronger since his Maha Samadhi. Muruganar once said, quote, Bhagavan's real power will be seen not now, but only a few hundred years after his physical body is no more. But we will not be around to see those days, end of quote. Friends, though Bhagavan Ramana has left his human form, he will always remained shining here in the form of Arunachala, at the foothills of Arunachala, giving guidance and solace to his devotees. The power of Arunachala is the power of Ramana, the power of the Sadguru's grace. Bhagavan is very much alive. His continued presence in Sri Ramanasramam and elsewhere is continued to be felt by sincere seekers of truth. I would conclude this portion of my talk with two take-home points, if I may. One, the death is not the death of the body, but the death of the ahankara, or I am the body idea. That's what we have to get rid of. Number two, as Bhagavan said, he's ever present in the ashram. As he said to the devotees on his last days, quote, "They say I am dying, but I'm not going away. Where could I go? I'm here." Today, sitting in the Samadhi shrine, one could feel how true this statement is. Bhagavan's grace is ever flowing, and it is only up to us to receive it with the largest cup possible, to drink the ever-flowing nectar that is emanating. Friends, I go on to recognize today the life and contribution of a dear friend, Professor John Grimes, who emerged at the feet of Sri Bhagavan on April 18. He is well known to many of us, especially in America, in DC and California, having addressed us at satsangs. He is an author, academic author, who's of respected books on Vedanta, which include the Viveka Chudamani, a concise dictionary of Indian philosophy, Ganapati Song of the Self, Advaita Vedanta, Implications and Quest for Certainty. However, his magnum opus was published in 2015 when he published Ramana Maharshi, the crown jewel of Advaita. He also continued to write numerous articles for Mountain Path titled Keywords, which are soon to be published as a book by itself. I like to quote some very moving passages from his book, Ramana Maharshi, the crown jewel of Advaita. The chapter is titled Ramana's Contribution to Indian Philosophy. Quote, "There he was, firmly established in the state of steady self-abidance, Sahaja Samadhi. He was one with everything, free from all dualistic thoughts. His eyes were glittering, unblinking, permeating with an overflowing love for all creation, firmly fixed on the self, one and non-dual. He asked for nothing. Ever full, he reveled in the spontaneous bliss of the heart. He was a sage, a jnani, an embodiment of the self, a momentary appearance of the nameless, formless reality. It may appear as if he had a birth, a personality, a history, spoke, acted, thought, all the raw material which informs a biography and of which comprise all that ordinary people can and do perceive with their mind and senses. But no, all this is but a tale that the mind that is possessed by the defect of duality tells. In whatever way one perceives Ramana, know that Ramana remains what Ramana is, always has been and always will be. The nameless, formless, indivisible self. What were Ramana's contribution to philosophy? He blazed forth and knew the path of self-inquiry. Through it, anyone at any place or time can attain self-realization. No one is excluded. No one is too low or high, too small or too great for this path. Even as Ramana's presence was always accessible to all, so were his teachings meant for the good of the entire world. Ramana's life and teachings were an incredible confirmation of both the Upanishadic teaching as well as the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. In fact, Ramana's teachings are the primary revelation, and the Upanishads and the teachings of Advaita are of value because they are found to be in accord with his teachings. Such profound words. His words, in numerous instances, are virtually the exact words found in the Upanishads and in the teachings of saints like Dattatreya, Ribhu, Shankara. Ramana did not found any school of philosophy. He taught the ageless truth of Advaita. More than an expounder of Advaita, he was a living, breathing embodiment of it. He is the incarnation of Advaita. Friends, as is the tradition, we offer poems and books on the occasion of Bhagavan's Aradhana. This year, I'm glad to state that thanks to the untiring effort of Gopal, we are releasing the Mountain Path app on the Android system. Soon we should have an iOS app. But through this, one can read the e-magazines of Mountain Path, Sharnagati, and the Maharshi newsletter from the Arunachala Ashram. It also has an extensive search function to search the past contents. I'm also pleased to announce the release of a book of Sri Lakshmana Sharma, who writes under the pseudonym Who. This is titled Revelation, that contains the Sanskrit and English translations of Bhagavan's Ulladhan Arpidhan. In this edition of this book, we have emphasized such that the English and Sanskrit versions are similar to those found in the original 1934 edition. Friends, Mother Aragama attained immortality and became Matru Bhuteshwara on May 19, 1922. This year marks the 100th year of such a momentous occasion in many of our lives. This year, the centenary celebration will be on May 24, and it will be transmitted live as always. Now, Bhagavan came down several times intermittently as he was living on Skandashrama in 1922 after Mother's passing away. However, he came down for good 3 to 4 days before the Jayanti celebrations on that day. And as Michael has pointed out in Sharnagati, it happens to be around December 28th. So this is the centenary year of the formation of Sri Ramanasramam. So we happen to be planning to have a celebration, which is, needless to say, will be only with a celebration of all the devotees and our lives in Sri Bhagavan. So the celebrations will start somewhere around September of this year and will conclude Jayanti 2023. I welcome all your suggestions as we want to make this an occasion in our lives and to remember. And we have thought of a theme, Ramanasramam, the next 100 years, and its relevance forever, for posterity. So please send me any suggestion at the Ashram official email at POSRM, all undercase, POSRM @gururamana.org. Friends, thanks for your kind attention. And once again, thanks for having me be included in the world celebrations of the Aradhana. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Thank you, Dr. Anand Ramanan. As usual, we were very graceful when we requested for you to speak, although it was still 5:30 there. Thank you again. Now,